Good afternoon, folks. Here, Magic Ryan Tips and Tricks. I somehow was surprised that I needed to do an introductory statement to start this video. So here we are, Tips and Tricks for Magicians. I'm Ryan. This is my studio. These shouldn't be hanging in frame, but that was from a thing. Clearly, I haven't even framed. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. The edge of the curtain is showing. Which is particularly relevant because the topic I've chosen for today is called framing your magic. I just obviously wasn't paying that close of attention what I got going here. Framing your magic, and particularly in this time when we're all learning. All the magicians across the world are learning how to perform through this medium for the camera. And one idea that's been on my mind for many years is talking about framing your magic. I don't remember where I first read about this idea, but the concept is there's this box around your head. And if I step back a little bit to give you more of a normal performing scenario where I'm on stage, you'd see all this space. But even in all this space, there's still this box around my face that is kind of the magic zone. And when you're performing magic, if you can make all your magic happen in this area, then that's within the frame. If you imagine a picture frame hanging around you, or the frame of a camera hanging around your face, when your magic happens in that frame, it's a lot more personal, a lot more of a connection with your audience because they can see your face. And if you perform the magic and they see your face at the same time, not only are you more memorable, but you're also more relatable. People see the emotions come across your face during magic. How do you react when magic happens in your show? Well, people can see that. And I wanted to show you exactly what this looks like. Because what I see all the time in magic is I don't know if I can, if I even have the angles to simulate this, but it would, yeah, my camera doesn't even go down that low. But a lot of times when you watch magic on YouTube, it looks like this. No, okay, well, pick a card. We're going to do this. Their face isn't even in the screen. Their face is on, like, normally it's just like shoulders to crotch is where a lot of the magic happens on YouTube. That is poor framing of magic. But it's not just on camera. The reason that's on YouTube is because that's how they perform the trick live. Again, if I step back, they would have a card chosen down here. Pick out any card. Great, I'm going to put it into the deck. All right, I'm going to shuffle the cards. And your card comes back to the top. Right? All the magic happens down here. You can't even see it because it's too low. But all the magic happens down here. You see this, you see my crotch, and you see the top of my head because I'm looking down. That's what you see. That's the visual that you're presenting. Compare that to a more appropriately framed performance. So it would be the same thing. You have a deck of cards. You would have someone pick out a deck of cards. I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to take that card. I'm going to put it back into the deck. Aha. See, it's all happening within this frame, within this zone. And not only is it more personal because it connects, I'm actually able to be visible to a wider audience. If I keep my elbows bent and my hands up above the elbows, that means I'm in the zone. That means people sitting at the back of the room can see what I'm doing, not just the front row. This is front row only. This is the entire room. When I performed a lot of corporate banquets, I would say, I wouldn't say this to anybody other than magicians talking about it, but I'd say, I'd play nipples up. That's the way I used to think about it. The idea of playing nipples up when you're performing. Because in a banquet, there's no stage a lot of times. You're on the floor and there's no tiered seatings. Everyone's flat. So by the time you get to the second, third, fourth, 10th table back of the room, there's a lot of heads. And progressively, the visibility progressively creeps up the further back you are, to the point that if you're not holding up your props in this area, nobody can see them. So when you perform for a webcam these days, you have to rethink a lot of your magic. because depending on your setting, there's two options. One, it's either out of frame all the time, which is not good because no one can see what they can do. Or option two, which is what some magicians are doing. In order to solve this problem, they're just doing this. And you can see I'm in my pajamas. They're just doing this, and they're standing so far back in order to show people the magic, and in order to do the magic down here. They're standing so far away from the camera that they lose that connection. And it just seems like, impersonal. So instead of standing back in order to increase the frame, think about how you can bring your magic up into that little rectangle around your face. Because the more you can connect to that camera, the more you can express your emotions, the more you can engage the audience. That's framing your magic. I had another example here. You may be familiar with this trick. But another example of how to frame this. When you hold your props down low, and again, I don't even have enough room to be seen here. But when you hold your props down low, you have to look down at your props. And the minute you look down, you lose eye contact with everybody, and your energy just drops. You aren't reaching out, you aren't connecting. So when you're linking the rings down here, it's not connected. So lift them up, bring them up. I'm going to take these solid steel rings right in front of your eyes. And you're holding them up. Again, you're framing that magic. That one's solid and this one's solid. And this blink is a perfect example of framing magic. Watch, you can see they're solid there, right before your eyes. And look at that. The magic happens, and I'm there to witness it. I'm there to be a part of it. It's not just some magician. It's now me in my face doing the magic for you. So that's an example of something that works really well with a nice natural framing. But every trick can be adapted. Sometimes you need to change methods. There's certain card moves to be able to control a card. You can't do something like if that's your card, okay, it's really hard to do certain controls like under the spread control when you're trying to hold your because then you'd have to do this in order to. So some methods won't work. Some things will require adaptation, but it is worth the trouble. There are ways to do an Elmsley count vertically. Elmsley count is one of those things. It's like that is more likely than anything else to have to be filmed in front of your crotch because in order to do that. But there's ways to do an Elmsley count vertically, right? That's just 4 regular cards, so I could have been doing anything. We'll try that again. There we go. Aha. Takes a bit of practice to adjust to that, but it can be done. Hopefully. I don't know if I flashed or not. It's not something I do normally. But that's the challenge. When you adapt magic to the camera, this isn't just a short-term fix, is what I'm trying to say. Doing this, adapting for a camera lens, that frame, is going to benefit your magic forevermore. Not just now, when you get back on stage, when you get back at banquet tables, strolling stage doesn't matter. Framing your magic with you as being a part of it is going to make your performance better and your connection better. So that's it. If you want the written version of this, hello, Nick. If you want the written version of this, I did write a blog. I'm just pulling up the link here. I did write a blog post about this the other day, which actually is shorter than what I just talked about. But if you want the visual reminder, that is it in word form. In other news, this completely unrelated to that, more of a personal thing, I realized this morning I'm a bit of a mama bear when it comes to the magic community. Like I want to protect the magic community, And I get kind of riled up sometimes if I notice somebody mistreating the magic community, in my opinion. And I realize I have a strong, I don't know what, a negative response when I see people trying to capitalize on the magic industry. Ideally, in my little world, we're just a cottage industry. We're just a lot of amateur or professional, but we're just a lot of people doing our little thing. We make magic tricks. We sell magic tricks that we make. A guy can open up a magic shop because he loves magic so much that he just wants to live in magic all the time and make it his job. That's great. And I support all of that when there's that passion behind it, just to be a part of that magic community. However, there has been times, and I'm noticing, maybe I'm just getting old and more grumpy or grumpable. But there's been, when I see a magic shop that's aggressively capitalistic and aggressively hyping everything to sell more, or somebody coming into a magic community and saying, "Oh, I know how to make money out of this," and it triggers something in me. So I notice sometimes I get a little bit mama bear about that. And maybe I'm just, you know, uh, socialist, whatever you want to call it. But I don't think magic needs that. It's a small enough community that we can just stay small and stay as a cottage industry. And people want to sell tricks. They don't need to go through a magic shop. With the internet now, you don't need to go through the magic shop in order to sell your tricks. You can just sell a trick directly. If it's a good trick, people will hear about it. And they'll track down the creator of it. And I think that's a sustainable model of business for the magic community. We're too small to support big industry in the magic world. So I don't have a point on that, but it's just, that was on my mind today. So yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time on Ryan's Tips and Tricks for Magicians. Tip number 1, think about how you frame your magic. Tip number 2, just participate in the magic community without trying to take advantage of it. 2 tips. You guys have a good day. I'll see you next time. I gotta find my button. How do I end this?